What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, family? What's going on? The Prestige family, ladies and gentlemen of Prestige, welcome back. Hopefully, the noise is not too much. Hopefully, the noise is too much. It's not too much. Let me just go ahead and test because honestly, I'm in a place that's a little bit noisy, but I do have my microphone, so hopefully, it's not too bad. But I'm just gonna go ahead and test and see before we get started. We're gonna have a fantastic show nonetheless. All right. It looks like we're okay. Let me know if the noise is too much. If the noise is too much, I'll see if I can adjust one or two things, okay? But just let me know if the noise is too much, then I'll see if I can adjust one or two things. For now, I think we should just go ahead and get started. Also, I just moved a little bit closer to the mic, so I'm just traveling. But I wanted to make sure I keep showing up here, to keep delivering some value to the platform. How are you all doing? Welcome. Do me a favor as you're coming in. Make sure you're hitting the like, share and subscribe button. But in the meanwhile, we're just gonna go ahead and get started, shall we? All right, welcome back. All right, so let me just hopefully that's better. How you doing, Bhagavad? Good to see you. Please tell me, let me know that my sound is okay and we can manage it. Just let me know. Thank you so much. Before we get going, okay, I actually think it's going well. It's not bad. There's a big old noise. I mean, it's actually inside a pool, but that's the spot I can find at the hotel where I can find a little bit of quiet. But there's still this massive thing making this noise at the top here, but I think we'll be able to manage it. What do y'all think? Can you hear me? If you can hear me clearly, let me know. In the meanwhile, I think we're just gonna get into the show. We're gonna talk a little bit about Gideon Okeke. We just announced that his marriage is he announced that he chopped some breakfast. Okay, he chopped breakfast live, so we want to talk about that. We're just going to analyze the statement, and then I also have a story that I'm also going to analyze here today together with you. I have a story. So today is one of those days that is more so kind of like a master class, if you will, right? But we have real stories to back up what we're going to be talking about today. We have Gideon Okeke's statement. We have that, and then also we're going to talk about 5 years. There's a Twitter thread that went live. I think it was last night that I thought were interesting around the first 5 years in marriage. Okay, now it doesn't matter what stage you are in life. If you are dating, relationship, in marriage, divorced, never ever want to be married, you should learn this stuff that I'm going to share with you today. Okay, What I think is really, really unique about what we do here is we bring out real life story. We're not talking in generals. Most other platforms, they generalize. They're talking from a general standpoint. They are very idealistic. It's just a bunch of ideologies that are never really tested in real life. That's what you will find in many, many other platforms. How you doing? Hi, Excel. Good to see you here, brother. Good to see you. Right? That's what you will find on other platforms. Just a bunch of people speaking in theories and never really tested. Now, I've been married for 15 years. I'm happily married presently, as of this moment. Okay? There is no guarantee for the next minute. Every man should know that. Also, you should also have leave with always assume best case scenario, right? Always prepare for worst case scenario. Always assume the best in life, right? But always prepare. As a man, you should be prepared that you should be prepared for a dangerous world. We live in a dangerous world. Anybody that has problem with everything I just said, those are the kind of people that end up turning up on different platforms to have completely unrealistic expectations of life, right? Life is exactly what it is. It's fair. At the end of the day, in love and war, all is fair. Good to see you, Brother Patrick. Good to see you. So I'm actually going to drop the link right now, just in case Brother Patrick or anyone else want to come up and chop it up with me. We're going to have I'm just going to analyze some of the stories, and then we'll take it from there. You know me, I'm going to have fun regardless, right? So that usually means if you're hanging out with me, you will have fun as well. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pin that. Let me see if I can do it from here. Oh, pin message, perfect. I could do it from the mobile phone, perfect. Also, cool. So I pinned that call-in link to the top right there, and then we can have a conversation. So yes, so we're talking about Gideon Okeke. This guy is an actor. I feel like I've seen him in a few. I don't watch no movies like that. My wife does. I honestly, I don't watch any movies. I don't think I've seen. I think I've seen Anikulapo. Before that, I think it might have been at least a good 18 months before I've seen the last movie. I don't watch movies unless it seems like it's something going to be interesting. A lot of people are talking about the Woman King or King Woman. As you can see, I have trouble remembering the title. But I think I'm interested in seeing that too, because a lot of people are talking about it. I just want to see what people are making unnecessary noise about when it comes to that. All right. So now it sounds like my audio is good. Nobody actually told me in the chat, but thank you. You're still hanging out, so I figured it's good to you. I do have my mic, so my microphone hopefully is doing a good job at canceling out the noise. All right, so we're talking about this guy that you can see on the screen who got married apparently not too long ago. In the last maybe not even up to 19 months, but sometimes in 2019, right? This is the guy right here. Here's another picture of him, right? He got married sometimes in 2019. His wife is pretty, right? Everything seems like they are happy in that picture, but you'll be shocked how many people take very nice pictures like this. After all, it's a photo shoot, right? After all, it was a wedding day, right? So there's only so much you can know from people's picture, especially on a day like their wedding day. But it's been what, over 2 years since then, okay? So then there was a Twitter thread that was going on live last night, and I was like, oh, this is going to be an interesting conversation with my people. Take a little break from all the toxic, viral, trendy news out there, and talk about real life people. Regular, good old people end up in divorce court all the time. Contrary to the popular belief that, only unmarriageable people would end up in divorce court. Let me say that properly. Only unmarriageable people end up in divorce court. That's cap big time. That's cap. Let me get my sound effects ready, right?
Stop the cap.
Yeah, regular people end up in divorce court all the time. Good people, regular good people that mean no harm. It just didn't work out. Well, not just didn't work out. It's usually because of a man not being prepared properly to be able to handle conflict? Yes, a man. Yes, I'm putting all of that responsibility on a man. Yes, dare me, dare I put that responsibility on a man. Like, that's completely strange, right? A man should be blamed for everything, right? It's whatever, man. You can try something else and let's see how it works out for you, because I'm not talking about what's right and wrong. I'm talking about the outcome. I'm talking about the outcome you create for yourself. As you can see, this topic is not hot. You can see the number of people in the chat. That's perfectly fine with me, okay? But that goes to tell you, if I put the title and say, fuck these hoes, right? That's probably going to attract a lot more people, right? There you go right there. There you go right there. That's the reason right there why people struggle. They don't want to be held accountable with respect to how our society is built. The way our society is built is God first, men second, woman, and then children. And you go in reverse direction in terms of how they will be protected. That's how we're socially constructed. If you kick against this, you will suffer. Guaranteed. Okay? Guaranteed. We say, you sure say na man, all day long. And we'll break it down, okay? It's not a matter of fault, right? Fault, blame, shame, guilt, condemnation, judgment, they're not relevant to this topic. The more you make them relevant to this topic, the more you suffer, okay? The only thing that we need to be focused on is the outcome, the results that we are creating in society as an individual. At an individual level, you look at the result you're creating. If you consistently create the same result, it's in your best interest to look inwards and say the answer is still inside. I created the outcome, I can also create better outcomes. Okay? And if you want to give your power away to other people, give your problems away to other people. Very, very simple. You want to give your power away to other people. Yes, this includes women, by the way, too. What I just said includes women. You want to give your power away to other people, give your problems away to other people. Give it away to your husband, your ex, right? Just give it away and say, hey, it's your problem. That's how you suffer consistently in life. That's how that works, okay? Now, shout out to this gentleman, because the statement he came to make, I can appreciate the banter in it. Let me show you the statement he made, Gideon Okeke. Because honestly, it's not that deep, okay? It's not that deep. If it was that deep, then I can understand why you would feel the need to actively have to blame other people for your own problem. If your wife has a problem, you have a problem. If your husband has a problem, you have a problem. That's the way it works in reality. That is the reality. The reality is not what it should be. That's why it should be. The reality is not what it could be. That's why it could be. The reality is not what it would be. That's why that's in the future. The reality is what is. The reality is that when your spouse has a problem, you have a problem. Effectively, instantly, right? And when you push that problem over to them, you actively continue like, no, it's just yours. Well, you suffer more. That's just how that works. That's the reality when it comes to real life relationships. Not YouTube relationships, so real life relationships. But like I said, fault, blame, shame. Well, shame is something you do, but blame and fault are irrelevant. If you make them relevant, you will suffer more. Okay? And that's the reality. That is the red pill reality truth. If you want to live in a fantasy land, please knock yourself out. And then I'm patient. I'll wait another 10 years for you to figure out that it just doesn't work out like that. Particularly, I'm talking about romantic relationships. Okay? Okay? There's nothing wrong with holding other people responsible or accountable when they're guilty, when they're actually perpetuating bad behavior. But I would hope, right? Hopefully, God help you that you're leading by example. Because if you're not leading by example, if it's just your mouth running, you will suffer too. Okay? And if it's a lack of self-awareness, if you don't realize that this is not about being an adult or a child, this is simply about emotions. If you don't realize that, you will suffer even more. Emotions don't give a shit about your feelings, because your feelings is exactly what it is, emotions, right? That's what we're talking about today. So this was the statement he made. He said, you wouldn't believe it if I told you that I'm separated from my marriage, right? Trust me, 50% chance we will believe you. We can see the numbers out there, right? People are suffering from separation. Divorce is not something that people subscribe to when they go into a marriage. They don't subscribe to separation, right? These are usually normal good people. There are some bad people, but they're the minority. That's why I don't like talking about bad people. That's why I will keep coming back with a little bit of a masterclass like this, as opposed to the extreme toxic IVD bimbo story. Most people are not IVD and bimbo. Most people are normal people that go to work regular daily. They come back home and boom, before you know it, the house is separated. Now the home is separated. The children don't have a place where they can call a home with 2 parents household. Normal good people. I need you to get this at the back of your mind. For as long as you keep thinking it's only narcissists that end up in divorce, you will suffer. I'm making that as a very, very bold statement. You can go look at the numbers. I'm aware it's a bold statement. Okay? So you wouldn't. So grab a seat. Oga, it's not that deep. People get divorced all the time. Okay? And it's sad. Right? It's only been 2 years, even much more believable. 2 or 3 years, 2019. Even much more believable. The earlier it is, the more chances you're going to divorce. Right? It is in the interest of clarity and a clear conscience that this becomes imperative. But break fast, don't reach. Don't reach me. Break fast, reach me too. Last. Let's see here. Brother Patrick is saying something. Let me pay attention. Colossians 3:19, Amplified Bible. Husbands, love your wife with an affectionate, sympathetic, selfless love that always seeks the best for them, and do not be embittered or resentful toward them. Ain't that a word? I'm starring that. I might have to come back to that later. Thank you, sir. Chinye, how you doing now? How are you? Good to see you. I know Chinye will show up to the master classes, of course. All right. So, breakfast reached me too. Last. It's been a hot pill I've had to swallow. There's no one on either side. There are little young, lame-ass young men running around and saying that divorce court is unfair more to men than women. There's no one that divorce is fair to. There's no one that's going to divorce, either man or woman, that feels like it's fair. It doesn't exist. Like, oh, we're going to divorce, I'm just so happy. I don't care how much divorce party you've seen on Love and Hip Hop Love of Atlanta or Housewives of Lagos. I don't care. It's not, they go back and cry their eyes out. Okay? Every single one of them. Men cry like a bitch. Okay? It's not fun for anyone. So for you to run around social media and continue to make this noise that is fair for one side than the other, that means you haven't learned anything. And no wonder why there is a 75% chance that you will be in divorce again if you remarry. Because guess what? It's easier to point fingers. Okay? Uchenna, good to see you. How you doing? That's a lie from the pit of hell. It's very painful for both. Yep. On both sides. Yes. So anyway, I'm glad you guys can hear me clearly. I think I'll find a good spot where we do some show for the rest of the week. All right, so he goes, it's been a hot pill I had to swallow, and boy, it sure humbles one. Yes, that's a fact. See, let me tell you something. A lot of people run around the internet and make noise after they've gone through this terrible experience, and they might even tell you that everything is sweet and dandy and they're happy that it happened the way it happened. That's lies from the pits of hell. Okay, they're just looking for a way to soothe their feelings. They're hurt, and it's okay. And if you don't make that okay, you will suffer even more. I'm telling you, if you don't make it okay that it's okay to have a terrible experience like divorce, but there's a whole life ahead of you that it's time to engage and learn some lessons, you will only suffer more, I tell you, right? This PSA, I see you, World Africa. Hang out. I see you. I'll go bring you up in a second. This PSA wouldn't be so important to me, but for the trap that I find fame to be sometimes gagged. So he's as honest as they come. I like him for this because not only is he having fun with this announcement, it's not, if you notice, it's not pointing fingers. It's not pointing fingers at anybody. Let me tell you something. Let me give you a quick secret. We don't fall out of the skies knowing how to not point fingers. Most human beings naturally point finger. But when you engage wise counsel, when you plug in on men of prestige from time to time, you know that you hurt yourself more when you point fingers. I don't care if you are actually right. You actually hurt yourself more. Because that finger that you point is coming from a blind spot. And I don't care how much facts, how much stats you have, you go so far. Just buy a dog right now. Okay? Because you're probably gonna die alone. I'm dead ass. Okay? Because it's not about your ability to be right. He continues, but as I look to the future, hey, see man. See, it's not about, you don't become less of a man for going through divorce. It's about how you handle crisis. See, I don't know him personally, but this statement, it's a good move in the right direction. Right? This statement is a good move in the right direction. Okay? As I look to the future, every time you look backwards with hurting your heart, you hurt yourself even more. Is it easy to do? No, it's easier said than done. I keep telling you, every time you come here, I will only tell you things that are easier said than done because they are highly rewarding. Everything that's easy in life will hurt you more in the long run. Maybe easy, maybe sweeten your mouth, maybe sweetening your heart in the short term, but guaranteed it will hurt you. Okay? But as I look to the future, I pray for my boys, such lovely boys. Please put us all in your prayers. No pity party. They need mom and dad sane. See, he's not simping in that statement. He's not saying, oh, the woman is good, because the woman, we don't know her. She may just be terrible, right? But it's not, he's indifferent with this statement. He's not saying she's bad or good. He's saying pray for us all. He said the boys need mom and dad sane, sound and strong for the fulfillment of their best interests, and we're working towards it. Hard as shit, I bet you. Of course it's hard. Of course it's hard, but that's why it's highly rewarding. Nothing in life that's worthwhile is easy. Nothing, literally nothing. See, today I was on a show earlier, and there was a gentleman that kept saying, oh, these women are not marriageable. You will never marry with that mindset. If you marry, you go destroy them with your own hands. You keep walking around town. First of all, let's say you're right, but it still tells me you're focused on unmarriageable women. Everything you focus on will expand. It's a fact of life. Where are the stats? I don't know. You figure that out. Because if you're still asking me for stats, you're not ready. And it's okay for you to go and collect stats yourself and fail flat on your face. That's okay too. But there are casualties in life. You may just hurt yourself completely and destroy yourself in the process because you refuse to listen. If you hit that like button, share. If you're getting value so far, hit that like button, share and subscribe right now. Hit that like button, share and subscribe. All right, let's continue. Please put us all in your prayers. No pity party. Let's say the woman was a very evil woman who actually, verbally abused him and all this kind of stuff. Let's just call that out real quick. Let's say that was the case. I'm not saying that's the case. It's highly unlikely that's what happened, right? But it could happen, right? Why do I say it's highly unlikely that could happen? Because it's only the minority that go through this kind of stuff. Look at the numbers. Good people end up in divorce all the time, just in case you missed the beginning. Okay? So it's highly unlikely that's the case. But let's just say that's the case. What does he get from painting her badly to the public, to 20, 30, 40, 50 million people on the internet? What does he get for that? You tell me. What does he get for that? No, let's not cap. No. Let's slow down. Let's not cap. He does get something, right?
Stop the cap.
He gets something. Number one, right? The first thing he gets, right, is...
You're right.
He gets to be right, right? He gets also a short-term satisfaction emotionally, even though he might claim it's not emotional. That moron is emotional, right? But long-term, suffer. He will suffer. Not only will he suffer, sadly, he will make his children suffer. Oh, by the way, he may make the woman suffer too, most likely. But he too will suffer. You don't get nothing from that. Like zero, nothing. And guess what most people that go through this experience will do? They come out on the internet and paint their ex-partner in a bad light, thinking they are getting something. No, you will get short-term satisfaction. You will get your need to be right. That's about it. You might even get to shame her, insult her, whatever feelings that brings to you. But you go suffer. Guaranteed. No one is going to tell you this. Okay? So shout out to this gentleman, right? But as I look into the future, I pray for my boys. Such lovely boys. Put us all in your prayers. No pity party. They need mom and dad sane, sound, and strong for the fulfillment for their best interests, and we're working towards it hard. I thank God and I thank you for rooting for us. One life, many stories. Wait. If he comes out and paints this woman exactly as she is, let's just assume that's what she is. She gets nothing. She gets nothing. She gets completely shamed in society, right? But let's reverse it. Let's say she comes out, because I keep telling you, I hold the men responsible for putting out this statement first. If your woman come out first to talk in this light, your woman or your ex-woman, whatever you want to call it, and she's the first to be making diplomatic statements, you go so far. You think you're getting away with this or more? As a man in this social construct, it's not ekpe. It's not a no go better for you. I'm telling you what is going to happen, because it's not just that event that's happening. This is just how you move in other aspects of your life. You lack accountability, and it is showing all those other areas of life. It is showing your next marriage, your next relationships. It is showing other areas of life where you're supposed to lead as a man. Oh, maybe this is just how you've always behaved. No wonder you're in divorce, by the way. But again, I'm pointing out just the emotional stuff. Just the emotional stuff I'm pointing out, right? There's other physical stuff, right? Yeah, you're right. Because again, we're talking about romantic relationship. But what I'm telling you is that you don't want a woman to be beating you to being emotionally stable. It's not sustainable. It's not. A typical woman is not set up to be doing that. She should be on the receiving end of all emotional givings, because you know what? Because she's an incubator, she receives and multiplies. She makes it beautiful. It gets better for everyone involved. But you, of course, you've bastardized that process. You are reversing it. Of course, not anyone in this room, right? Of course, not anyone here right now, right? Anyway, so let's keep it. Say, please don't call. Don't text, okay? Hopefully I'm not struggle streaming right now. It says, please don't call, don't text, as we work our way to a final dissolution. This process takes a toll. This process takes a toll. These processes take a toll on one, as you may know. God bless y'all. That is such a fantastic. This is what we're trying to teach Oga Suleiman Johnson yesterday, right? I bet you he had the banter in it. He was very empathetic with the situation, with himself. He reflects self-love. This guy who made this statement also tells me that he has self-love. At least in this moment, because I don't know him like that, right? At least in this moment. So let me just go ahead and bring my brother here to the stage. World Africa, how are you doing, sir? Can you hear me?
What's going on? What's going on, my brother?
Good to see you, man. Hold on one second. Let me just shout out some of the people in the chat, because I know they've been buzzing up in this second. I'm doing fine, man. Good to see you, man. Yes, sound very clear. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for my good mic. Emmanuel, good to see you. Ungu says the guy has wandering eyes. He had a child from a previous relationship before getting married. Thank you. I appreciate that. And recently he posted on Twitter saying, How can a man be faithful with all the nude ladies online? Hey, see, when you come here, I'm not going to teach you how to be perfect. I'm only going to, I want to discuss how to handle crisis. That's what I want to discuss with you, because no one is perfect in life, right?
Yes.
That's why I will not be, sometimes I will talk about infidelity and stuff like that, depending on how you handle the crisis after it's become a crisis. Let me tell you something. Some of the pastors we're talking about here in the past few days, how many of them are perfect? I beg. But yeah, infidelity is wrong 100% of the time. But that's it. Our problem in life is not doing something wrong. It's how we respond to wrong outcomes. That's majority of our problems. Chinye says it's a process that goes in various phases. G can't stay faithful for a while. I know. I understand. I know that irks us. But hey, I don't really engage judgment very well on this platform. Oh, he said that. Okay. Oh, look at them. They enjoy that part. Yep, very much so. Yep. He's not marriageable either. I beg. Yeah. Of course, people that complain about not being marriageable are generally not marriageable. Yes, I just said generally. If you're complaining about women that are not marriageable, you've been attracting unmarriageable women. You need to check yourself. Yes. The only reason he was quick to put out this statement is likely because another woman don't enter EI. He is ready to move on. That's fine. It's how he shows up that matters when it comes to real life.
Because the same way that he's bringing out this statement, other smart women are watching him. Oh, if I go close to him, he's gonna do me the same thing. So you're right, he's hurting himself. He doesn't know that in the long run. You understand?
In the long, if he's not faithful with that statement that I just uploaded, right? Who they hurt? Not me.
No, he's hurting himself.
Now.
because women are very intelligent. Like we all know that, okay? And like you're saying now, some of the men are acting like women now, like you said in your last program.
Right.
So
right.
So maybe the woman saw something about him that maybe he has feminine qualities,
Right.
And for her not to behave this way, and he's acting this way first. Hey, it's a big.
So let's flip it properly, right? I'm applauding the statement because presentation is everything, right? How perfect your life is on the inside. I'm telling you, man, there are men, right, that are so perfect in their marriage. Let me give you this flash. They were so perfect. They walked the straight line, and it's a fact. But when they chop breakfast, they start to act like women. That man goes suffer more than this guy, Gideon Okeke. That's the reality of life. Exactly. Right? That man goes suffer because what the woman is watching is how he responds to crisis.
Crisis, yes.
There are women that will see this statement from this guy and are sliding in his DM right now. That's the reality.
Yeah,
they might find out later that they will suffer too because they need to pay attention and vet this guy, right? Because we remember I already said we don't know him. But the truth is that as a man, the way you show up is much more important than your own sense of character, values, and morals. If your own sense of moral value and character tends to trump your social skills, you will suffer.
Yeah, and another thing, boss. I'm going to tell you another thing. The women.
Shout out to Sahil. Good to see you, Sahil.
Yeah. The women now are very masculine. Okay, I'm saying some of them they have masculine traits. So once you start showing feminine qualities, that's where those insults will come.
Yes, you will attract insults.
You will attract insults. So it's always good to be an alpha, regardless.
So here's the thing. One day I will unpack the masculine feminine thing properly, right? Big topic, right?
Very big topic.
In fact, my sister, my friend Courtney, she covered this earlier on our channel earlier today, and I think she did a fantastic job. Okay. Human beings don't decide to be feminine. The emotions that they take on can make them come off as feminine. The only thing you can decide to do is being masculine. When you're assertive, right? When you're assertive, when you're logical, when you are being cerebral, when you're thinking, that's the masculine, particularly from an energy standpoint. Okay?
Yes.
When you are just being, meaning you're not controlling, you're not being intentional, right? That is feminine energy. It's neither right nor wrong. It just is. It's just energy. It flows where it deems fit, right? When you start to put in intentionality into it, I don't care if you're a man or woman, you're being masculine. So when a woman is caught up in her emotions and she's insulting you, she's not necessarily masculine. Okay, she might just be feminine, or it's just not relevant, because we're not talking about sexual polarity, so there's no need to bring in the topic of masculine or feminine. She might just be insulting your ass because you deserve it.
You're giving me more insight right now. I will not know everything, you get.
Yeah,
so I understand what you mean.
Right, but my own is subjected to my own definitions too. So I'm not necessarily right. You see what I'm saying? It's just that the way people, the definitions are all over the place. The way people use it, when they attract insult from a woman, they say she's masculine. I say, no, that's you attracting insult. Check yourself. Why are you in the presence of a person that's insulting you? That's what we should focus on. If a woman is unruly to me, I'm not engaging. It's very simple to me. I'm like, oh, I must be in the wrong room. that's how I handle. That's how I handle that. I don't sit there and start identifying who is masculine and masculine and masculine. Like, no, I'm not sitting there to identify that.
Definitely.
And men that tend to sit down there and identify who is masculine or not are literally in their feminine energy. They are weak. Dare I say, they are weak men. Precisely. I don't care what society they're in. They're weak, because if they were not weak, they won't have time. They won't have time for that bullshit. They just won't have time for it, right? Because you spend time with things you value. So now what you value may be completely far from what you're saying in your mouth, right? I'm looking at your actions to see what you value. If you spend time around masculine women, quote unquote masculine, because they're disrespectful, bro, you like toxic. Your feminine energy, like that's you.
Yeah,
that's
toxic. Yeah.
That's still who you are as a person, But again, let me not divert the conversation. I want us to.
No, definitely. Yeah, we're going on here. Okay, but let me ask you something, right? If you prevention is better than cure, I think,
right?
From my perspective. So if you get into a new relationship, right? I'm gonna give you an example, right? And you make emphasis on therapy.
Right.
I mean, you're saving. You want the marriage to last long now, especially as Nigerian people, right? Because we're not used to having therapy in the beginning, right? But if you make emphasis that you want therapy, you want the marriage to be for 30 years. If you do it that way, correct? Am I right?
You're asking that should you engage therapy? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Should I engage in therapy like in a new relationship from the onset? In order if you can afford, yes.
As a man, period, right? In this society we live in right now, knowing what we know, even before we talk about marriage, if you can afford it, you should always be engaged with wise counsel. That could come in the form of therapy. It could come in the form of a good pastor, like a good pastor. It could come in the form of an elderly person that you look up to. It could come in the form of man of prestige, right? It could come,
Of course,
It's not about the therapist being right. It's about you putting yourself in a position where you're being held accountable from time to time in terms of your insights, how you think. You're rubbing minds with great minds, and you're processing things in a moving and fluid way, right? So how much more if you're going to bring another human being to do life with, right?
Yes.
How much more, right? So I definitely think that everybody in 2022 and beyond must be engaged with wise counsel, including myself. In fact, even more so for me, because the position where I'm at right now, where 20 people will come and just listen to me, is a very dangerous position. Arrogance can easily creep in and destroy everything I've ever believed in, even more so me, So but anyone that has anything that they can lose Anybody that has anything that they value so much that they can lose, since all of us have a blind spot, we can only see 180 degree at any point in time. You can see small the side of your nose. You can see, so if you calm down, you can see your nose small. But that's about all you can see. There's always a blind spot behind you, right? So you need that wise counsel. You need to surround yourself with people that they value you, but you also love to listen to them. You feel like they bring value to your life. So the answer to your question is like, oh yes, especially if you're going to try to do life with somebody that you don't know the first 18 years at most of their life.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. Yes.
So yeah, the answer is definitely yes. Yeah. But also, I see that a lot of people put too much weight on the counseling they do before marriage. That one is for you to learn how to handle conflicts. Yes. That's really at most you can learn from it. Everything else they teach you, you can't comprehend because you are not inside it yet. Everything you believe in will be tested. Everything you call morals, character, and value will be tested. You yourself, you go act certain ways, you go be like, I didn't know I have this much anger in myself. Yeah, that woman will pull the worst out of you. That husband will pull the worst that you didn't know existed in you out of you, because they are a spirit, you are a spirit, you're bringing two worlds together, especially if you're really in love in the beginning, especially if you, because the more in love you were, the more disappointed you will feel when you find out they're a human being like the rest of us.
Yeah, of course, that comes into play. You have to know, you have to go in it with maturity, you know.
Yes, so yeah. Money, hang out with me, brother. Hang out. We got more to cover. Money and wealth conversations. I think it's a guy, if I remember well. He says, or if a woman is ambitious or overachieving, she's masculine. That's so annoying. Yeah, that's true. No, I disagree 100%. Okay. But I can't disagree with him because this is how he sees things, right? But I think more so this statement speaks to his mindset more, right? Let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. Your woman wants to achieve things. Oh, she says I'm a woman. She said I'm a woman. Oh, see. Anyway,
she fooled me.
No, I thought it was. But anyway, she's a woman. But let's assess this, right? This is why. Okay, women, ladies, cover your ear for a second. This is why men should be careful when they listen to women advice. Okay, This is why. Ladies, you can open your ears now. I know you heard me when I said that, but let me explain. I think a woman brings a lot more than a man can bring to any kind of romantic context. Yes. But it's basically her multiplying what you bring to her. Right? But if she's the one sowing the seed, you have to be careful. Because that's not the natural order of things. That's definitely not the way nature or nurture does things. That's not how, the man brings the seed biologically, physically, emotionally. If you want peace, you bring peace. You bring peace first, and she will multiply it for you.
Yes.
Oh, am I exonerating women of their responsibility? No, you are missing completely the point. Again, you think you're dealing with adults. Even yourself, be adult. You're not an adult in a romantic relationship. You're a person who is in love. You're just as stupid as everybody in that context. Because you're opening yourself up to a place where she can absolutely destroy you. You're trusting. You're in love. You're in love. You're sleeping at night. You are completely dead. She's next to you. And you're snoring. You were not being an adult. Is that a reach? Maybe it is. But the point I'm making there is this, right? A woman, as a man, a woman wants to be, she's showing that she's ambitious. How you define ambitious is based on how you feel. From people to people. So one thing she might say, I want to be a nurse practitioner. To you, that may be ambitious. To me, that may be like, that's it. You don't want to get doctorate.
You don't want to get yeah. You're right.
It varies from people to people, right? Yeah. So ambitious is such a subjective thing, right? So we can't call ambitious and overachieving masculine. That's based on you as a person. So if you now read this, especially when you find out the woman said it, and you as a man cannot dissect it and say, wait, I love women, they can bring a lot to the table, but that advice, I don't want to take that advice. Because what if I take this statement and my wife happened to be lazy as shit, right? And I'm like, because anti-money and worth conversations have said that women should not be over ambitious, but that's actually negative for your particular situation. Right? She can't see when you're being ambitious. She's saying, calm down, you should be content, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's because it's subjective, right? Ambitious and overachieving is subjective. We can't afford, especially in 2022, to project that on your woman and say she's masculine. And then suddenly you now project the feeling of so annoying on it too, right? What good do you think will come out of that situation? There's no good that will come out of it. So now, with respect to what you have going on as a family, right? If she just she wants to be ambitious and she doesn't care about what happened to the family as a whole, now we can have a conversation. Still, you shouldn't be so quick to approach the feeling of she's masculine or she's annoying so quick, because that feeling, you will use it to destroy your relationship. You will overreact, basically. You overreact. So while anti-money and wealth conversation, she's right, because guess what, right? She has the right to be.
You're right.
Exactly. She gets to be right, and I mean that when I say that, because I don't know her particular situation or where she's speaking from. But every man that sees that should be careful when they read that and internalize it, because it's subjective. Looking at women and calling them masculine, I think every man in 2022 should be extremely careful with that, because that thing takes on a life of its own. It becomes a spirit. Before you know it, when a woman is simply assertive or she's sassy, you start calling it masculine. You will have a hard time recognizing a feminine woman. You will just see red everywhere you turn, because you're a human. You're a human being, just like the rest of us. Wherever you focus on, you see it everywhere. If you start thinking red right now, you start seeing red everywhere. That's just how the mind works, right?
But can I tell you, if she's ambitious and overachieving with good character,
yes,
that's excellent. That I can sleep well at night. But if she's ambitious and overachieving with negative attitude,
negative attitude is negative by itself, right? The way I would adjust that is, if she's over ambitious with respect to the overall goal of the family, it doesn't matter if she has good character, bro. Okay, good character in the mud all the time. I'm telling you, you gotta be careful with this kind of stuff, right? Everybody understand that part already. Like, that's easy. Like, that's the simple part. A character, value. Like, listen, that's bare minimum. You should come to the table with that regardless. Okay, you shouldn't be talking to anybody that doesn't have value, character, and morals. You shouldn't be. We're talking about normal, good old people that end up in court all the time for divorce.
All the time.
Right? The issue is pride and unrealistic expectations. Those are the two main issues. Right? Pride is when you say, I know what is right for us, from your own moral standards, but you're not able to see from a standpoint, or vice versa. Maybe she's over ambitious and you've tried to have the conversation, but she seems to be selfish and it's just not aligning. Like, let's say she wants to travel the world, when in fact you guys discussed that we should be having babies right after we got married, right? She doesn't take away from she has good character. She may just feel different, but guess what? Regardless of her good character or not, you go end up in divorce court if she continues that behavior.
Yes, you're gonna end up in the divorce court. But you know another thing, boss. You know another thing. This is what I tell people. I think I told you this last time. I said, any good woman, or I mean, any good person, has more virtues than vices. So if I'm going out with someone, right, and I see that they have more good than bad, because everybody has bad.
Right.
I have bad. She got bad and everything. But if her good morals
Right.
Or if a woman is going out with a guy and he has better morals than bad, that's how
Right.
you vet a person. So what you're saying is the right thing. I say, and so again, I'm gonna repeat it again. Anybody who has good virtues than vices,
Right.
then you go for that person. But if the vices
I
are
agree
more
with
than
that.
the virtues,
I agree with
you
that.
run.
Because
Yes,
vices
sir.
is almost they're double-edged sword. You can use them as weapons, Rabbi.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I
if
agree with
it's
that.
more than the virtues,
Uh-huh.
then you run from the person. But
Right.
if you're
Right.
seeing one or two, because again, like when we were talking last time, everybody has red flags.
Yes,
So
everybody
it depends
does.
on what you can deal with. What can you deal with?
Yep. You know,
Simple.
you might find that I push against talks around when it comes to relationships. I push against talks like character, moral, and values quite a bit because I see that people use them as vices.
Vices. Yeah, it's
So
not
even
good.
though it sounds good on the surface, right? You're just being judgmental. You see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
again, if both of you are sat down somewhere and you subscribe to your own God as whatever those set of morals and values are, then you will be right. But if it's just you based off of how you're raised and you've never had this discussion, we talk about the GPS as my wife and I's secret. Like we literally give this away. Our secret is GPS, and is God, purpose, and self. The God part of it is your only source of unconditional love because we're all selfish. But when you subscribe to one God, whatever that is, when you subscribe to those same set of moral standards and code of conduct, both of you can refer to and say, hey, this is what we agreed to. Or say, hey, this is confusing, we are disagreeing. Let's look at what God has to say about this, whatever that God is for you, right? And then we talk about purpose, meaning, purpose, personal purpose at the personal level. Everyone should have something they consider personal purpose that's bigger than even themselves, much less their spouse, right? So, like for me, I have a purpose that's bigger than myself. So of course it's bigger than my wife's. You see what I'm saying? So it's bigger than my wife herself. So she can't come to me and say, so you have a purpose that are bigger than me. Like, it's bigger than me, Then self, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to make sure that you're good first. You have to put on your own mask before you try to save other people. I would even say to an extent, children, to an extent, right? So it depends on what we are talking about, particularly, right? So yeah, good conversation, man. Let me bring Brother Patrick to the stage. Brother Patrick, how are you, sir?
No problem.
Hang out with me or stay with me.
I'm here.
All right, good. Brother Patrick.
I'm good. I'm listening.
How are you, sir? How are you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Good to see you. Oyade, good to see you. Oyade, Victoria, come on stage now. How are you doing? She said, exactly. Some men want very educated wives because the women spend most time with the kids. They want a well-read mother to their kids. See our perspective changed so quick. That's absolutely on point. Thank you. Ambition is subjective. Yes. So, Brother Patrick, what do you think? Did you see the story, this guy's statement so far, and what I had to say? What's your take on it?
Yeah, I looked at the story. At first pointed why so quick for him to just bring that out.
Well, we don't know if it's quick. This is just us finding out for the first time.
Yes, and bringing out to social media and the children being involved.
Right.
He made some statement that children need their parents,
No, he made the statement. He talked about to pray for him and his boys.
That's why I said that they need their parents,
Right.
There's always a multiplier effect with that.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, when you lead as a man in the house, create multiple leaders in your home.
Yes.
Because you are the role model. Those kids are looking at you.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, by the way.
Yeah, they're going to become leader like you. Let me give you an example. My son, when he was very smart boy, was very stubborn. Yes, that's it. But one of the teachers for 35 years. Hello?
I can hear you. I wanted to make it clean. That's why I muted. Continue.
He said it's a white lady. He said this boy challenges him in mad.
Mm.
The Patrick, I don't tell parents, I'm tell you, this boy is so smart. Yeah, but the only problem I have is when they say that somebody put on mother on somebody, there's somebody here. We know
Yeah.
he's a very stubborn guy.
Mm.
So when he turned 13, we have more than 15 kids in my house that's left over.
Mm.
I have to go and get TV from the church, add TV in my business so that they can play game overnight. So parents were just coming to pick their son, grandparents in the morning in my house. I'm like, wow.
Mm.
And you know, my son, most of his friends, their parents, they are remarried. So my son, when he was young, I said, you like it? Like, what do you mean? He said, because they get 2 gifts during their birthday from their stepdad and their biological dad, and they doesn't understand. That was the trend in the but without sitting down and begin to tell him what it takes. That what we actually let him know that these people having stepdad, stepparent is not bad.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, we encourage him on how to be married and not involve the effect of it. To cut the long story short, if you are not there with this boy,
With the boys.
boy will have chosen the wrong path of our life. Like my son is a very, you know, there's nowhere he goes to that he will not know him. He's so high. When somebody is so high, but he's so high. In school, the principal, everybody knows him. Including the cleaner. This guy will never see this guy before. He believes it's an American guy. That no, you can't do anything in America. You go to jail. You have to be there to be talking to him every time. And like I said, the only thing that helped him was that he was smart. People respect him. Yes, he's an A student. You know? So what am I bringing out from there is that you have to be there for those kids. And those kids now, they have computer brain, blah. Whatever is happening out there, downloading it. Yes. Even this guy put out, they are not robots.
Right.
So
So I'm giving him a pass on that because it's a public figure, right? With the likes of the gist lovers and all those bloggers out there, they have a way of creating narratives, not directly, but people start speculating when you don't make a statement as a public figure, like as a rock star, a musician, an artist.
People are decoding if they said he was talking about you cannot cheat with all this picture or whatever. You can't be saying that. You know what I mean? And
True. So, like I said, right? You're right about that. Like, if he made that statement, which I believe when they said he made that statement, right? If he made those statements, he's absolutely wrong. He probably was acting like a single person in the public, right?
Yeah,
he's wrong.
At home already. And you know one thing, when you go through crisis, the most important thing in life, what have you learned from that crisis?
You said what?
If you go through crisis, what have you learned from that crisis? That is the most important thing.
Okay, so as in real life, like in his personal life, right? No, yes, I would hope.
He has not showed us what he has learned. He's just telling us picture of what we don't know whether it is true or right. He's putting our children that we should pray for them. Pray for them for what?
Let me go back to that statement. I'm actually glad that you're bringing this up, right? Let me go through that statement, right? This statement is a PR, public relations statement. It's not an accountability statement. It's not a therapy type of statement. It's not seeking people's advice. In fact, if you really pay attention to some of the statements that I've criticized, like the Samuel Okposo, like the one we just covered recently, about Suleiman Johnson, right? particularly what I'm asking them to do is not to come and tell us what they learn or to tell us that they're holy. What I'm telling them is to know how to do is learn how to relate with the public. I personally, my personal opinion, I don't think any of this guy owe us explanation of how they were wrong. I would dissect their statement if it is necessary, if they are making irresponsible statement. Irresponsible public relations statement can come from you making yourself look right. Remember Bishop, right? Even if you're right, even if you were walking a straight line. When I said to everyone that I really think that Bishop is that good guy who really pedestalized himself because he's a good guy, people thought I was trying to be diplomatic. No, I mean that. I think good people can sometimes be the most narcissistic people ever, because they don't know, they have unrealistic expectations attached to the fact that they are good people. You see what I'm saying? So this statement is not designed to tell us the lessons he's learned. That's between him and his therapy and his God. This statement is designed to say, hey, I'm a public figure, I need to make a public statement. It has nothing to do with if I'm right or wrong. And when I read this, the way I'm processing this statement, it doesn't paint himself as a good guy. It doesn't paint his wife as a bad person, right? And when you say pay for the boys, I don't think we need details on that too. I think any children that will go through a household with divorce, I think we know the effect of that. You see what I'm saying? So that's where I'm coming from, particularly with this. Trust me, right now we're creating a foundation, right, for this guy as a public figure.
But you know, this statement is long. You understand? You have made it short.
It could be shorter. Yeah, it could be shorter. But the first half of it was banters.
You don't have to say, you know, you have kids. Just like Cynthia Bailey that we talked about the last time.
Right.
Yeah, they just made it short because, you know, that's how it should be.
Yeah, I'll prefer it to be shorter. I agree with that part, you know.
And you know what, bro, like we talk about taking responsibility. That's what we Africans don't do. We need to be open and take responsibility.
Yeah, I'll be careful with it. You see, that's what Will Smith overdid. That's why he's still being dragged to today. Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Yeah. He was being responsible in public.
No, that was irresponsible. The guy he had something that was in him before. The thing just came out in the wrong place. Yeah.
You're talking about the slap?
Yes, just
no. I'm talking about the overall situation with his wife too.
You know what I mean? There are things you need to deal with. Yes. Go for therapy. We're talking about therapy. Especially when it comes to marriage.
Right.
It takes a toll on anybody.
Yes.
So you don't have to go to court. But I told you, there was a time I had stress with my wife. I went to the store. And my car was on and I went to enter the store. I was asked, where's my not doing that my car was on outside.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it takes a toll on everybody. We know right
it
now,
does.
God's grace. Whatever issue I have outside, even at work, the only thing that gave me consolation, once I don't have any issue at home, I'll just get to my wife, let's eat, let's talk, we just talk. That's
right.
I get that consolation. So when the home is good and you have a place to run to.
Right.
Yes. If you fire me at work, I will get another job. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll get that. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, sir. For me, I want to wait until I get some more detail in terms of.
I'm not just talking about this guy. I'm talking about. I'm just looking
just
at
in general.
the sense of this guy. Supposed
right.
to be short.
It's supposed to what?
Make everything short.
Right. A statement, a short statement. Yes.
People have been saying, this guy knew before. Maybe he has another woman. You understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you think about this, sir? Let me ask you like this. Some people will say, okay, like they said in the comment earlier, they said he's found another prequel to follow, and that's why he's making this statement, right? Do you think do you think it's okay to, let's say he found somebody else and he decided to move on? Do you think anything is wrong with that?
It's too short. It doesn't work that way.
It's too early.
An
Are you saying
example.
it's?
Yes, I have this a life story. This guy's even a pastor.
Right.
It was shocking. Very shocking. I know what this guy could do. The wife died. 3 months he got married.
Right.
What is wrong with this guy? What's the money? This guy fighting with my brother in less than 1 year. The woman I got married to left. He came to America. He has even disappeared now. Got married to American girl. Like, what is wrong with this man? You know, that was what I said. You know, you need to give yourself time. Like,
How much time is enough, sir?
It depends on you. Need therapy. On you, depending on what you went through.
Okay, so that's why I said we don't know how long he's been separated, right? I wanted to have an idea, not an exact number, right? But how much time would we see as the public, and we would assume best case scenario, which is what I always advocate for here, and say, oh, it's enough time. He probably went through some therapy already. He's probably ready to move on.
Bro, I tell you, some people, let's be realistic, their social skill is very low.
Right, I agree 100%.
Yes,
a lot of people.
Maybe when you're in college, I've been in Nigeria, maybe you don't get some grades where they don't bash you, break up. You are used to it where you can absorb a little bit. But some that will just happen to them as if the world want to end, they will crash. So we are different persons. Yes, I just told you what happened to me. But now, you know, I'm not saying I'm perfect.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a different person.
So you're saying it depends on people to people?
Yeah, it depends on
Okay, so if we found out, let's say, because I agree with you to an extent that, you know, if your marriage is breaking up, it's okay to be patient and wait some time. Let some time pass out, even before making a statement. If you are trying to rush, because I also don't like when people try to control narrative, because you actually can't. If you are hiding a secret, it's last it will come out, especially if you're a public figure, right? So there's no need to try to control narrative. There's no need to rush to it. As a matter of fact, the more they speculate, the better for your career. If you let people wonder, let them figure out what is going on. If they want to speculate, if they want to guess, let them do what they have to do. They can't control your life at the end of the day. So I would agree that maybe if, let's say, they just splitted and it was just making a statement, like some people were already trying to bring me up to speed, which I will dig then and I will come back and we'll talk about it, right? Some of the statements he's been making online. Maybe he's, what do you call them? Maybe he's a F-boy that's basically out there living his life like a single man, and things have fell apart right now, and he's trying to just rush to the public and say, hey, just pray for us, right? See, the thing is that he did not paint his wife in any bad light. The first half of this statement is basically fun and jokes using slangs. The second half is basically the main public statement. Just the way I'm reading it, though, some people may even say I'm justifying or I'm giving him a pass. I don't know this guy for anywhere, right? But I'm painting as a picture of, if you have to make any statement at all, I like the idea that it's light-headed. I like the idea that it's not judging himself and the other guy. I like the idea that he didn't try to come and justify, like this person that said he had said this about his girlfriend. Let's say he came here and say, oh, I know some people are saying, let's say he started with that, like Brother Suleiman yesterday that started with in 2017. Then I will have a problem with the statement just by that beginning phrase, you know, because I know you are coming here to try to control narrative. But he light banter and say, me too, I don't chop breakfast. Right? That's basically, maybe that's his persona in the public. I don't really know him. Maybe he's a comedian of some sort. But you don't know him too, right? So, but the last part where he said, but I look to the future. I pray for my boys, such lovely boys. Please put us all in your prayers. I guarantee you that Bishop will not say, please put us all in your prayers. He will not do that. He will say, put me in your prayers. I was so good to this woman. That's what he will be doing. That's it.
We are different personality, but Allah said
No, no, no.
all of our flaws.
That's true, but I'm talking power language right now. It's not about being perfect. It's about knowing how to relate with the public, and knowing how to use your influence, even when you're not a perfect human being. But when you come to me, we can all see that you're not perfect, but you're trying to paint yourself as perfect. This is where I will start to have problem. This is where Oyade says they are self-righteous. It is not good. It is never good to come off as self-righteous, even if you don't mean to, because many of them don't mean to be like that. It's just they don't know, they lack social skills. They don't know how to talk. This is where people say I was giving Bishop a pass. No, I wasn't giving him a pass. I recognized that he couldn't. He wasn't capable. He didn't have the social skills. That's why he kept mansplaining, explaining, trying to, But yes.
Bishop,
You said what?
are you checking on him?
No. We let that go. I have to let that go. I'm okay, sir. Unless if he pays me 10 grand, I will check on him. Chiye, how are you?
I'm doing it. I'm over here laughing so hard.
I heard you. How are you? Good to see you. You came on stage today.
Yes, so good evening. Good evening, bro, Patrick. Oh my goodness. I'll keep saying it. Man, I don't know how you and your wife sat there for that long to listen to him, and I'm glad you have the strength to be able to do that. I'm talking about Bishop, but anyway, yes, and you're absolutely right. There was zero sense of accountability. I mean, to be honest with this young man who put out the statement, I do. I would give him a little would I say pass for some of the things that he said. Like
Right.
one of them is just like you said, he didn't in any way, shape, or form put his wife in a bad light. He never presented himself like, oh, I'm the good guy, she's the bad one,
Mm-hmm.
the one that messed up our marriage. In the place where he stated, pray for my boys, he was including him and his wife saying, or his soon-to-be ex saying, that the boys need parents
Mm-hmm.
that are
Yes.
sane, sound, and strong for this fulfillment. Because
Mm-hmm.
in the whole divorce situation, it's really difficult. Like I'm divorced myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was separated.
It's
Separate.
difficult.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Separated since 2018, and then finalized the divorce October of last year. So the whole
Mm.
process, like I was saying, it's different phases. You go through different phases
Mm-hmm.
in the process, and after all that is said and done, it's left for the two adults to just be cordial and mature
Mm-hmm.
for the kids,
Yeah.
and just be good, just put all the whatever it is to the side, and just be there for the children.
Right.
But it's really hard. And then sometimes
It's
when some
hard.
people are in that phase where they feel like, I bet man, they might just leave this thing and go out there. Ain't nothing out in these streets, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if it's a situation where it's like really dangerous, and where it's life threatening, and there are a different
Right.
concerns to like
Mm-hmm.
mental health, etc., then in that case, by all means, run until the
Right.
flip
Mm-hmm.
flop flies high and hits you on your head. Run. But
Yes,
if it's
so.
a situation whereby it's life adult situations where we just need to put in that work, just put in that work and stick it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah. And it's worth it. It's just that it
it
takes time
is.
for you to see that,
It is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like me, if I'm to do it again, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in doing it again, but I'm like I definitely want, like I'm looking at things from a completely different perspective, being that I've done it
Right.
before,
Mm-hmm.
and also I'm putting work now, like just acquiring knowledge. Like your book that I listened to. Oh my God, it's
Right.
fantastic.
That's
Love it, love
awesome.
it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
That's awesome.
And I
That's
would
awesome.
encourage couples to listen to it as well.
Right.
But and also there are books that you recommended, and the first one that I was listening to it nonstop. That was
Which one?
the Five Love Languages. That was
Okay.
an
So
excellent
you've never
book.
read Five Love Languages, right?
I've never read it, but I know I'm like
You know of it.
my former pastor preached with it, so I
Okay.
knew of it. And I've also listened to other classes that went through each of those love languages, and so I can identify with it. But I'm glad I listened to the book because it had a lot more detail about different scenarios that
Right.
is so important.
The
And those,
stories. Some of the stories
oh
are
my
forgotten
God,
now.
oh my God, those stories, they're so important. Like
Yeah.
there's a situation whereby which happens a lot in our community. Let's say, a lot of times the wife will be saying to the husband, "Let's go to therapy. Let's go to therapy. Let's go seek counsel." And a lot of times our man will be like, "Nope, drag their feet."
Like for
Like I
like
don't want to
why?
go. Why? So I can go
Yeah.
and be telling them my problems. So, but I love the particular example where he gave where the wife basically just wanted to give it the last try, but he doesn't want to go. He's not interested. Like
Yeah.
he's making it really hard to be loved,
Yeah.
and at it was more like an experiment for him, but the approach worked.
Yeah.
And so that was like a really good example that somebody can keep on the side as a tool in case if they run into that situation whereby
Right.
you guys are on your wits end and you're trying everything, but your guy or your lady don't want to go to therapy. How you can start on your own and how you can use your behavior, and just by being sincere, saying, for example, he gave an example whereby sometimes where let's say both couples are no longer like communicating, being
Right.
lovey-dovey, like they're just living as roommates.
Right.
And of course, if there's any behavioral change, the other person will be like, what is this one doing, Steph? Like, say if you start calling them like, sweet names or whatever, they'll
Right.
be like, okay, what is it? So the example that he gave is like, if the other partner asks, okay, what are you doing? You could just be honest and say, "Hey, I just really want to be a better wife. I just really want to be a better wife,
Right.
and for us to work on our marriage."
Right.
So he might look at you side eye for a little bit. Oh God,
Right.
annoying.
This is
And then,
yep.
but if you're consistent, you'll be like,
Yep.
okay. Before you know it, he would start. He would start paying attention and he start
Yep.
working on himself.
They'll be processing it. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep. If you don't sit down there and be shalaye, he will process it.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fantastic. I'm so glad that you're on that journey. I think you're gonna come out fantastic, for you first, and then that's whoever that is gonna be lucky as shit.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. Good. Thank you for coming up and sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's why we put those, because we didn't want people to end their journey right there. We wanted them to, because we never want to come off as we're preaching gospel truth and it's always right. No, we want you to see all these different stories, and all these different stories will start to help you create your own scenarios. You'll be able to respond to different types of scenarios as opposed to listening to that one echo chamber where everybody is don't soon walk or and they're saying the same thing all the time. Like that doesn't help issues, But before you listen to 5, 6, 7, 8 stories, you will first of all you can find enough to relate with,
Yes.
and then you will see places where you're wrong, places where you're right, and you eventually find that listen, it's not all about right and wrong. It's a bunch of other human beings going through the same thing.
Yeah. And also, one thing about me that I think is something for everyone to have is like I know sometimes like we're like really strong in our conviction, but at times we want to pull back and do a
Just chill.
self-reflection. Okay, so I'll give you an example, right? So um an example is someone that I'm talking to or whatever. Like a simple thing is like if you're riding with me in my car, I want like it's important to me to have your seatbelt on, right?
Right.
So, but the thing is, the way you come off to tell the other person, especially like men, men, like once you come off wrong,
Yes.
that ego comes out.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
like what it is like they feel like you're talking to them as a child.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah, yeah.
and sometimes women we do it without really seeing it that way, without knowing. But if we pull back and actually listen to the other person and hear them out, so in this particular scenario, what happened was I was about to get on the highway, about to eat his food, and he's like, and I'm like, hey, I need you to put on your seatbelt. You have to put on your seatbelt. If you're riding in my car, you have to put on your seatbelt. So that really, like it rubbed off on him the wrong way. And,
Right.
so we had a little misunderstanding that night. But later on, when we talked about it, he said his own piece. I said my own piece. But much later on, I reflected on it. I said, okay, if I want to achieve this thing without it being
Without the
blown out,
basketballs.
exactly blown out of proportion, it being a whole situation.
Right.
What he's saying is, look, the way you're coming off at me is like you're talking to a child.
Yes.
Like, it's yes, seatbelt is, to protect everybody. And at the end of the day, it might not be 100%. I mean, all of those is just, being a little defensive. But if I
Yes.
came off by saying, baby, it's really important to me if you put on your seatbelt.
Right.
But if you pull it on and adjust it a little bit, it won't be tight on your stomach. I'm about to get on the highway. I'll feel a lot safer
Ha.
putting it on. So
If you say that to him.
he would receive it much better than
He can't wait. Let me just tell you, Lana, he can't wait to eat you up completely. If you dare say that to him that way. You see, those are some of the things that I want women to learn too. Yeah.
I said, like much later on, it's like that whole weekend we talked about it. So like the following week, I said, you know what, babe, I don't want you to think that I wasn't listening to you. I reflected and I see what you're saying. I see how I could have expressed it better to achieve what I wanted to achieve without making you feel like a child, And
That is a fantastic example. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is exactly. It was like yes, and then that resolved that issue.
Yeah. And you just gained a little bit of extra respect, just like that from him. And more importantly, he would naturally he won't want to offend you. Like everything else being equal. Of course, we don't know if he's a bad person or not. What I'm saying is that everything else being equal, you keep that behavior consistent.
So far.
Yeah, he can't wait to make sure that you're good all the time. And these are part of the main issues. They are very, very subtle things like this. They are not the major issue. It's not the majority of the issues. Is not somebody whooping somebody's butt. That's majority is subtle stuff. You put the toothpaste over there. You move the shoes. It's how you communicate that. Listen, you were right about the seatbelt, but you were also at least 50% actively creating the wrong outcome.
Yeah.
And you were able to say, oh, maybe there's a better way to not just be right, but also create a much more favorable outcome over time, And of course, vice versa, right? But I'm so glad that you brought up that example because women are responsible for, how they address their significant other or romantic partner. You're responsible for that, especially if you're an assertive person. You don't mean any harm, but sometimes it's just going to come off. And by the way, the moment you invoke the feelings will override facts every single day, every time, as long as it's a human experience.
Sure.
Feelings will override everything. Listen, we can record it as data later on, whatever. But
I've learned a great deal from Thierry today.
Chinye, don't come lecture us today.
Yeah, so
you always so like I so much value your wisdom every time. And Uncle Ade is not here today. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nothing of a very good TV here. I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
want to be hearing from you, Thierry.
Please, because it balances our conversations and everything. It was you that told me to explain earlier, right? That was you, right?
I forgot what was the specific.
I think I said women should cover their ears. That
Yes.
okay?
Explain.
Did I explain it? Oh, I did, right? Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because I think women also want men that can hold his own, that has a mind of his own.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and not, oh, what do you think, baby? Okay, we're just
Oh
gonna go
my
your way.
God. I know. Oh, like, sometimes like we want to bounce off ideas. Like sometimes you want to be you want to be in a relationship, not feeling like you are making all the decisions by yourself. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a friend of mine, before she got married, like she married in her late 30s, and she was like, man, I can't wait to bounce ideas off of somebody. Like, I'm about to purchase this home, but I have to make all the decisions by myself and stuff like that. So it's annoying if you're in a relationship with someone when all the weight of the decisions gets put off on you, as opposed to both
Yeah.
of you bouncing off on ideas,
Right,
and
right.
the leader like picking the best ones based on both of or if it's a situation whereby you have more knowledge in that aspect, after both
Right.
ideas, he might let you pick for that particular time, but not all the time. You're the one. The weight is on you to make that decision. It's not good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's about finding balance, man. It's about it's about just being having empathy at any point in time, being open to the idea that you just may not see what is actually going on, right?
Yeah.
Being patient. I just always say when all else fail, I want the man to take responsibility. Because why? Because when he does, it gets bigger when it's received on the other end for a typical woman. If a man continue to show as a responsible man, particularly with regards to handling crisis, as in like not when things are perfect, when there's a chaos or something like that, everybody's panicking, right? And everything else fail. A man should be able to say, "I got this, babe, I got it." Just being able to make you feel at ease. See, if he's able to do that, the way a typical woman multiplies that is good for all parties involved. It's good for everyone involved. But if you have to help him all the time and you're the one leading when there's crisis, particularly, right? Eventually, you can't have respect for that kind of man.
Yes.
And when a man is not receiving respect, the product is not good. It's not good. You gave us an example of that earlier. Even if he's wrong, even though that nigga is supposed to put on his belt. Right?
I know what son. I haven't put on your damn seatbelt. I mean, he
Right?
did put it on, but we're both pissed because the energy was
Everybody's angry now.
mad.
The emotions are all over the place, you know? And a man's emotion always shows up in the form of anger.
Oh my gosh,
So
yeah.
Chie didn't make the law, and
She didn't.
and for safety reason, it's kind of glaring. You don't have to tell somebody. In my house, everybody put on their belt, so
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
what it is because like one of the things he told me at the time was like, yo, like I always put my belt when I'm in the car, but it
Right.
means that I wanted to eat my food and I didn't want to feel like, oh, it's tightening up on me.
Can I
But
share a secret with you, Chinye?
yes,
Can I share a secret with you?
yes,
I think you're like my wife. My wife hates it.
I
So
freaking hate
I
it.
make her I make her drive, right? Because I hate driving. I absolutely hate driving. So once in a while, she likes me driving, but for obvious reasons. Just a woman likes to relax and have the man because she feels safe,
Exactly.
right?
Hmm.
But sometimes I'm like, "You're driving. I'm sorry," you know. And then when she's driving, I would sit. The first place I get on, I'm absolutely addicted to my phone and just checking. It's not Instagram I'm checking, it's my emails. I'm just obsessed with business and stuff, you know. So that's the first thing I would do before I put on my belt. So you know how the car starts making stupid noise when you don't put on your belt? Yeah, it gets to her so much. So I'm like, so now because I know it gets to her so much, that first 30 seconds before I put the belt on, because she already started driving, it's like we're in hell. Because first of all, I don't want to hear her mouth. Second, I don't want to hear her mouth because me too, I'm already like, oh, but it's such a bad habit that I do it. But she's also very particular about it, you know. But if you, again, I don't mean any harm. It's just a bad habit, right?
Yeah.
And but he recognizes that, oh, now she doesn't just like before. Initially, the way she will come at me, but I'm traumatized with the memory of initially the way she came at me. So I don't even want to even take the risk of hearing her mouth. So me too, I'm rushing to get to, because the way I'm sitting, sometimes I have to push around my stomach to put the belt on. But it's not just you and your partner. Every couple have bad habits that they have to deal with. And these things, when they're not handled properly, is what takes people. When you have consistent how you react to it, is what end people up in divorce court. It's generally not because people are bad people.
Yeah. The ability to manage crisis. You know,
Yes.
one of the marriage seminar I went to, the man said when you are in a very hot crisis, before you talk, by the time you see that, you tell your lover, your wife, say, honey, I love you. We are going to get out of this. I'm not going to leave you. We are going to,
We're in this together.
we are in this together. That should be your first statement.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
Butter
yeah.
her up real small before you get into it.
You said what?
I said butter her up small before getting into
Yeah,
it.
so you butter it up. After all, you have to butter your bread before you eat it. Now, I mean, you hear I'm dry,
I know.
right? So we have a hard time giving ourselves grace. That's why I said people's morality or their sense, because I like character, morality, and values. I do like it at the core of it. I like my own version of it. Your own version of it may be too much for me. Maybe the way you were raised, you guys walk the straight line. Sometimes I like wiggle lines. Sometimes I like a little bit of breathing room, right? And my breathing room may be too much for your own good. After all, we don't know each other. Like my wife and I don't know the first 23 years of our life. That is a big deal, So I always relate everything back to unrealistic expectations. First of all, of yourself. You're not that perfect. You're not as bad as you think you are too. Guess what? Your partner as well. So if you were once upon a time in love with this person at all, then bring some grace to the table when there's crisis, especially when it's purely emotional. No one is being harmed. No life and death issue at hand. It's just your own sense of morals, right? Have a discussion about it, right? When we say baby, 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 some people are like, yeah, right, baby. Like, no, that baby, the fact that you call each other baby goes a long way, because when my wife calls me Ola, I'm on.
Me too. When you get called by your name,
Yeah, that's not a good thing though.
high on the mountain.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. Yeah, that's not a good thing. And thank goodness, we could go straight 18 months, and then that never happens. At one point, consistently, about 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, that will come in. Yeah, she's in that space. I mean, you read the book, so you know the full story, right?
Well, one thing I say about the book too is I love, like, it started with a bang. Like the very first sentence, I was like, oh snap, this is
Wahala.
about to be lit.
There's a background noise.
Oh yeah, I said that in the beginning. My noise is I'm a little noisy here. Sorry. Yeah, I'm in the pool area, so they have all kind of stuff on there at the hotel. Hopefully you can hear me small, Sha.
No, you sound clear, but it's just in the background.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like it started with a bang. I said, oh, it's about to be lit. And
I'm glad you said that, because that was my intentions, to start it with a bang.
Yeah, and it was. I was not disappointed at all.
Right, and I made her start, so I knew she was gonna bring the heat. Yeah. I was like, babe, I need, because at that time we were in such a good place, because we started on a clean slate. So I was like, babe, I need you to go back. She will say, she's trying to now actively soothe my feelings. No. It needs to be raw. When you were dragging my ass, right? It needs to be raw like that.
Like when you guys have to go back and recall those things, like how was the emotions, like having to recall those things to kind of like relive it in order to write? Hello?
Like, it's like color is changing.
Oh,
Okay, something I don't. I'm not sure.
oh, okay, because it's playing the background music. I don't know if you can hear us.
I'm not sure. You know, it takes a while to really understand your partner,
Yes.
to get to know your partner. You know, like I'm gonna give you this funny story. It took me 15 years.
Can you hear me now? Am I back? I'm back now. I should be back.
Yeah.
Allow,
Okay.
allow me,
Yeah. 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 Sorry about
allow
that. My phone got disconnected
take a
earlier.
while to
Can
understand.
you
It takes
can
a
you
while.
hear me?
Yes,
Yeah. What were you saying, sir? Go
I
ahead.
said it takes a while to even understand your partner. I'm going.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you this funny story. It takes me 15 years to understand my wife doesn't like bread and beans.
Ah, you
Oh
kept
yeah,
trying to
no,
force
about
it
that.
down her throat.
I remember you talking
No,
about that.
listen. I like bread and beans. I will go to my wife will cook beans. She knows I like. She will cook good beans. You know, honey beans, ewaloyin. They call it ewaloyin. Those very sweet and good beans. So you say, honey, I cook beans for you. I know you are the stock. Can you buy bread? I'll buy bread. Meanwhile, my wife doesn't eat it. She only eat plantain and beans.
Beans.
And one day I just noticed, what? What is going on?
But Patrick, how much self-absorbed can you possibly be? 15 years.
Listen to me. I was naive. She said, you don't know I don't eat beans. I said, what? For how many years? He said it's meant for carpenter. When they decide they will eat it and drink water, that she just look at me and say, this man is being like carpenter. I said, well, thank God Jesus' father was a carpenter.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm serious. That threw me off. I can't believe it.
Yeah, in terms of the how difficult was it to bring up the emotions? I'll tell you like this. One of the things that my pastor told us, which we were one of the lucky ones to have a good counsel in the pastor, right? Was that we had to start on a clean slate. That was one thing. The second thing that he told us was to do a project together. And the project is basically the book and lolaanola.com, right? So that helped a lot, but also we were very aware that we had to be extremely careful when we put ourselves out the way we put ourselves out, right? Because like I always say, these 20 million people out here that have a say about your story or anything like that, their opinions are very, very powerful. So at one point we did a video. I'll give you a good example. We did a video. I don't know what we were thinking, but we did. Kingsley Okonkwo, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I like Kingsley Okonkwo. He's well balanced. He does a lot of scriptural quotes and stuff, but he's well balanced in his interpretation as far as I'm concerned. The wife is not as balanced. The wife quite a bit can come off very judgmental, and she has her own channel. We saw a video. I forgot what the particular topic was about, and I guess we came too hard on her, right, in terms of the critique. So what did we do? We invoked the feelings of our followers. Oh my God, they came to that video. That video was one of the biggest on our channel for a long time, but they were just coming there to basically bash us and say, hey, why are you using other people's name to, it was all negative. These were people, quote unquote, proving our point. Right? Because our point was that what he's teaching is coming off a little bit too judgmental. That when it comes to relationships, you don't want people to be taking those judgmental spirits it will backfire. It will work against them. Basically, that was the point we were making. But the bottom line is that people didn't like that, and people were coming with very negative comments and stuff like that. I had to delete the video.
Oh wow.
That's
So
what I'm
that bad.
saying.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I'm
had to.
saying. Allah, you don't know where other people are coming from.
Yeah.
That's the mistake Africans are making. There are some people that are kids in America that even live there with their parents. They came from foster home. They've been abused. So you don't even know. So why would you have deleted your video? Maybe you're gonna help somebody.
We did because again, when see me myself, I can handle this. Me, let me even tell you right now, I may be a little bit narcissistic. This is business for me, okay? But my wife, I don't know if you've noticed yet, she's soft life all the way. She anything that would tamper with her mental health, she's not interested. If she has to over process, what do you think about that? She's not interested. So she handpicked like I will be on Ola.com and I will talk with my husband and that's it. I was still thinking yesterday that I would drag her here to come and hang out with me. But that's gonna be
nice
some kind of work. Right, sometimes I could probably squeeze in sometimes, but for her to consistently show up and people are live chatting and all this kind of stuff, she can trust this platform because she watches this and she sees what we're doing here. But in terms of she just like her peace of mind. You see what I'm saying? Right. So it's one of those things that we were very particular in terms of how much we know that this is a project for us, but we're also very particular in terms of how much exposure that we're going to give. I do put my kids up for their birthday and stuff, but if you notice, we don't put up our kids too much because too much exposure can actually backfire, But we just can't let that stop a bigger purpose, So to your question, Tinye, invoking emotions are powerful. They are much more powerful than we could ever be as a person. So when you're provoking it, even if it's in the past, even the one in the future that hasn't happened is just that powerful. So I always tell people, obsession with the past or the future will steal you of your happiness. You have to learn how to live in the present. Of course, with respect to planning for the future, but you have to tread lightly when it comes to that, because if you're obsessed with the future, anxiety will kill your happiness before you know it. So it's a balance there, and it's a very, very tricky thing, and it comes down to understanding your partner and see what they can handle and what they can't handle. If they can't handle certain things, compensate for it. Find a way to compensate. That's why you're partners. You're supposed to complement each other, right? Find a way to fill in that gap, because I guarantee if you do that, you will create a better outcome than trying to force them to your own standard of doing things. There are men who actually force their wife, like, you should have this second degree. Your own mates are doing this, doing that. The product of that is not good.
Not good.
It's not good. Because now you're shaming her, and I keep telling people, the product of shaming people is never good. I don't care how the higher moral standard you put yourself on, bring yourself down from it. You're not perfect. I don't care who you are. Bring yourself down from it. If you think people should change their behavior, they will never change their behavior unless they are running away from pain or they are gravitating towards pleasure or relief. That's it. The idea that you're going to shame them to do the right thing, at best, they will misdo. They will just do anyhow because they are afraid of the effect of shame, and the product of that is not good.
You don't have to make tons of money to even enjoy life. Remember when we were talking about the ability to manage your sources and enjoy life. And Pastor Shla was talking about it. Go out with your wife. Have time with each other. Go to a nice restaurant. It's not just walking.
Yes.
A big house, paying this. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Travel with her.
Yeah.
Enjoy with her.
Yeah. Pastor Solana, the OG. Yeah, he gets it completely.
Yeah. When somebody is working extremely, hard working, have time for yourself.
Yeah, time is even the rich people, what they're doing with their time, what they're doing with their money is buying more time back. That's what they're doing with it. So you that you have time and you think you don't have money, the way God go slap you for mouth, that's a luxury. Just in case you're listening to me, if you have time more than money, that's actually luxury. As long as you can feed and have basic needs, right? Yeah. Like you said, sir, it's about managing your resources. that's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter how rich you are. If you can take care of basic needs, it's about managing your resources.
Got yourself with your what is there? You know, some people just be working, making money. They're like, well,
and then you don't have time. Yeah, it's always 9 to 5 people that behave like that. Rich people don't behave like that. Rich people are trying to buy time back. 9 to 5 people are trying to get double job, 3 jobs because they think it's about getting more money. And we have to wait. Sometimes they will destroy their health before they find out. Unfortunately, your resources, your time, your health, your relationships, those are huge resources that you should be managing. If you don't know how to manage that, right, you're not going to receive more. You're going to it goes back to the parable of the talent. Many of you are Christians here. It goes back to the parable of the talent. You're counting that little one talent, and you're saying it's not enough. And you know the result of that. God is going to slap you on your mouth because you don't know how to appreciate the little you have, manage it as a big time resource, and then make the most out of it. You're not carrying your money to anywhere. Right?
even your kids, in those times they will remember the daddy was there for us.
That's all they're going to remember. That's all they're going to remember.
How they say, man, this man doesn't even have time for us. Always working. You don't want to realize that. No.
That's all they're going to remember. That's all they're going to remember. So anyway, Patrick, Sister Chiye, thank you for hanging out with me today. Tomorrow, I'm going to have to just push over the other story that I have. I'm going to push it over till tomorrow. If there's nobody trying to burn themselves up tomorrow on the social media, but caught husband cheating with men. Yeah, but we have to cover the trending news if they're happening, especially if it has to do with relationships. But tomorrow we'll talk about caught husband cheating with men. Ouch. Yeah, so we're gonna cover that tomorrow. And then the 5 years lessons, we're gonna push that over to tomorrow too. I'll be back right here at the same time. We'll now have to manage this noise until Friday because I'm stuck where I'm at till Friday. I will see if I can find a little bit more quiet, but I think we can manage it. You said what?
I said it's not bad.
It's not bad. Okay, all right.
But as long as we're hearing you clearly.
As long as I'm talking and I'm mute in between, I think we'll be fine.
I'm in spirit, Ola.
You said what?
I'm in spirit. Enjoy with your wife, right?
Okay. No, Allah. Yeah. No. My wife no day. I did work. They look for small money. It's short time. I'll be back home soon.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have to still hustle. Never mind everything I said earlier. We still need to hustle. Right? But no, seriously, what I said earlier overrides this because that's the whole reason for this. I value time, and it's something that actually took me 9 years to understand that. It was actually part of the thing that created a breakdown because even though I was working at home, I wasn't particularly engaged with the idea of spending time, quality time. I wasn't capable, to be honest, but thank God we're some of the lucky ones because it's not, but we're able to share what we know today. And I believe that into the future, Sister Chinye, Patrick, and TB, those ones that can have this conversation at healthy levels, at individual levels. Some of us are listening to me. You think you want to save the community, you will self-destruct. You can't save your community if you can't keep a home together. You can't save a damn community if you can't keep a home together. You can't even save yourself. Your mental health is shattered and you're trying to save a community. Who are you deceiving exactly? Who are you deceiving? Just yourself. Just yourself. There are 7 billion people in the world. All you need to do is get it right one time. One time. And you're trying to save community. You're projecting negative news. Some of you don't even have experience yet. You don't have context. And you don't even want to listen to context. It's arrogance at best. Pride. And you know what they say about pride? It comes before what? The fall. It comes before the fall. You can't see what you can't see. There's a reason for that. That's why we call it the experience. You're moving. Even us that have been doing it for a while. Listen, let me tell you something. There are people that get to 25 years and they end up in divorce. 35 years and end up in divorce. Them day now. So it's not about number of years. It's about in this moment in time, you're open. You keep an open mind. You nurture your relationships on an ongoing basis. Wherever you have not agreed with your partner as right and wrong is stupid. You first of all make sure you agree on that end first before you start projecting your moral values on the other person. Because guess what? Guess who's going to end up in divorce court if you don't rewind what I just said and listen to it properly? You too. Even though you're right. Even though you're right, there's another person involved. It's another person involved. It's key in all of this. So even if you get everything wrong, if you're a womanizer like Oga, they're like the allegations against Brother Gideon right now, even if you get everything wrong, if you're not a perfect, at the minimum, how you talk in public is a big deal. How you hold yourself accountable in private is a big deal. Listen, there are people that will come to me and say, oh yeah, I know I'm right, but in action, they have a hard time looking inwards. They have a hard time looking at the mirror at home and say, I could have done better. You don't have to be wrong. I could have done better. Remember, I don't talk about right and wrong. Just always seeking opportunities to improve yourself. Like as a perpetual thing. It's called perpetual beta. Just like there's no software that doesn't receive updates from time to time. And by the way, they are much more perfect than human beings in terms of how they function because they have no feelings, but yet they receive updates. How much more with your emotions all over the place, right? Your emotions are good. Emotional intelligence is even better. It's even better because that means you're aware that you are an emotional human being and that's the first step. It's not about the other person's emotions, it's about your emotions. And you're always checking it. If you think emotional intelligence is about mastering other people's emotions only, again, you will self-destruct. That's only going to create arrogance. Nothing good is going to come out of it. You know? So with that being said, I want to get the last word from Chinye. Chinye, she ran away. No, it's Brother Patrick that ran away.
I did hear.
You did hear, but Patrick ran away. All right, let me get the last word from you, and then we can shut it down for the day.
Well, I don't have much to say, but just for us all to just be open-minded and just keep learning, do our best to just grab the positive things and push out all the negative things that are out there, just to protect our hearts and our minds from all this toxicity out there in the world. And just for us to hold ourselves accountable, because whenever we hold ourselves accountable, it gives us room to grow.
Yes.
To be better people.
That's a fact.
And that's what we should be able to thrive for.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Don't be a stranger. Please keep coming up.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right. Talk soon. Bye now.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, another classic in the bag. These ones where we are less than 30 is the best ones. Trust me. This one where it's only 2 or 3 of us watching is the best ones. Don't miss it again. If you see there's 2 or 3 people or anything less than 20 that's watching, I know I'm talking against myself now, but you get the gist. The gist is that these are the best classes because they're not as, and they're real life stories, right? This guy right here, I don't know enough about him to even judge him. I can't, Plus, generally speaking, I stay away from judgment unless I feel like your rhetoric is going to hurt other people in terms of you have a big following and you're spewing nonsense. Then I will have to check it. But in his statement, he really did not abuse anyone, including himself. I'm glad that he did not abuse himself. Contrary to what Brother Patrick was saying, we kind of defy a little bit on opinions there, but that's fine. I don't need him to come and hold himself accountable to the public. I don't think it's necessary, unless he's Bill Gates or he's in a public office or something like that. A public officer like but John Suleiman said, right? He's not a public officer. He's just a rock star. He doesn't owe anybody any explanations, as long as he doesn't do anything to harm another human being out there. If he's a cheater, he's only harming himself. Okay, maybe potentially his wife and his children. But again, they're separating, so I don't know. That's probably the worst outcome that can come from that anyway. And the way he's handling it with just the statement, I can appreciate it. If I find out more information, I feel like it's destructive, and young men especially should not be listening to it. I think I think I will bring that to the surface if it's worthwhile, and then we'll talk about it at that point in time. With that being said, cheating and infidelity is always wrong, but right and wrong is not our problems. It's learning how to nurture relationships. That's the major problems. Those are the major problems. Learning how to nurture relationships. So shout out to Latu. I've never seen your name before. Shout out to you. I celebrate you. Thank you for stopping by and being the 17th person to like this video. And shout out to D'Souza. D'Souza, I miss you. I miss you. Where have you been? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you always for the support. Without any further ado, I think we should, again, don't forget, tomorrow we'll come back here. We'll talk about this crazy story. I don't like going too crazy with this kind of story but ultimately relationships are relationships, and we can talk about it, right? But hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I will see you on the next one, and peace.